Today I'll teach you how to perform client-side validation for TextBox using jQuery in ASP.NET MVC. So let's start. We'll start by adding a model class to our project. I am naming the model class as person model. Now inside the class, I am adding a string property name. Above in the namespaces, I would like to bring to your notice that I am making use of a namespace called system.componentModel.Data Annotations. This particular namespace is required for data annotations. As you can see, at present I am adding a data annotation required and I am setting the error message for it. This particular data annotation is used for performing required validations. It is very similar to required field validator. The next thing I am adding is a controller. So simply I'll right click on the folder and I'll add an empty controller. I'll be naming it as home controller. So the controller has been created. Now I'm adding an action result method for handling post call. The reason is that I'll be submitting a form. So that form will be submitted to this particular method. I am naming it as index and I am passing the person model class object as parameter. Inside the function, I am simply returning the view function. Now let's move to the view part. So for that purpose, I'll be adding a view. To add a view, simply right click inside the action result method and add the view. In the model class dropdown, I'll be selecting person model and you need to make sure that the reference script libraries checkbox is checked as it is required for adding the libraries for validation. So as you can see, the view is ready. Here I have pasted some CSS classes. This is required for styling the view as well as setting the color for the error message which will be displayed during validation. Now I'm making use of Razor syntax and I'm adding a form to the view. For adding the form, I'll be making use of begin form method of the HTML helper classes. Now inside the form, I am creating an HTML table and within the HTML table, the very first thing which I am adding is a label element for displaying the label for our text box. So for that, I am making use of label for function and I'll be binding it to the property. Label for function will simply display the name of the property inside the label element. The next thing I am adding is a text box, and for text box I am making use of text box for method. That too I am binding with the property. And the third thing which I am adding is the validation message element, which will be used to display the validation error message. Here I am making use of validation message for method and I am binding it to the property. Now I am setting the class attribute in which I'll be setting the CSS class we had created earlier so that our message is displayed in red color. Now finally, I am adding a submit button, which when clicked by the user will submit the form to the action result method which we had created earlier. Last but not the least, I'll be adding the scripts which are required for performing the validation on client side. So for that purpose, I am making use of render function of the script class, and here you'll notice I am making use of a word called bundles. For this particular project I have already created the bundles, and if you are unaware what is bundle, you can click on the link on the right hand side of this video. That link will take you to the video where I'll explained what are bundles and how it is used and what is the purpose of creating bundles. So as you can see, I have added two bundles, jQuery and jQuery val. The first one is for jQuery libraries, while the second one is for the validation libraries. So with this, we are done with our view, and we can now run the project and see it in action. As you can see, the label, the text box and the button has been rendered, and also the validation is working fine. Now I'll be adding my name in the text box and I'll again submit to see whether it works or not. So as you can see, when we put value in the text box, it is working fine. With this, we come to the end of this video. So today we learned how to perform client-side validations in ASP.NET MVC with the help of model class and data annotations. So if you like this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and please also click on the bell icon so that you receive notifications. Goodbye.